Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to Kindergarten with Mrs. R. I'm so glad you're here today, and let's go ahead and get started because we're going to learn a new letter today, and we're also going to learn a new sight word. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you. Let's take a look. Just one second. All right, so our letter that we're going to learn about this week is the letter W, and the letter W says W as in wagon, but the letter W also says the same sound W as in web, wig, wolf, and move these up just a little bit, wall. So you can see at the beginning of each of these words, they all have the W sound, the W sound. Okay, so we're going to learn today about the letter W. So let me go ahead and put these away, and you're going to need your kindergarten binder that looks like this, and you're also going to need a couple of other things. You're going to need your crayons and your Play-Doh. You're going to need a dry erase black marker, and you're going to need an eraser, okay? So you're going to need all those things today. So if you don't have those yet, go ahead and grab those, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start by writing my name like we always do. So we're going to go ahead and practice writing our name 4 times. So I'm going to go ahead and get started right away. I'm going to write my name. And by now, you guys are probably really, really good at writing your name, huh? And I think many of you, when you started the year, you probably were using your name tag to help you write. But I'm thinking that at this point, most of us have got it down, and also that you're writing your name really neatly. I know I've seen some samples of work from some of the students, and you have beautiful penmanship. Penmanship is how we write. Okay? And so some of you, probably all of you, have beautiful handwriting, and you write your name so neat and legibly. Legibly means neat, that someone can read it. It looks the way it should look, that you're taking the time to form your letters correctly. So that's really good. All right, so I finished writing my name, and I know some of you probably aren't done, so you can go ahead and push pause whenever you are ready, and then you can push play again when you're ready to join us. So I'm going to go ahead and erase my name, and again, if you're not done, that's okay. You can go ahead and push pause. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn to the section that says, I know my alphabet. And we're going to find the letter W. Okay? My goodness, we have done so many letters so far. So many. We're almost to the very end. A few more weeks and we'll be done with the alphabet. And then we're going to start on something called blends. And blends are when you take 2 letters together, put them together, and they make a new sound. So at that point, you'll be ready to start that. All right, so here we are. I found W. And if you don't have your letter W in your book, then go ahead and pause your video and let your mom or dad know that you need to have this put in your notebook so you can practice with us today. Okay? So for the letter W, lots of straight lines. These are called diagonal lines. They go sideways, okay, across, and that's what diagonal means, to go across. So when we do our capital W, we start at the top line and we go down, up past the middle line, down to the bottom line, and up to the very top like that, okay? So down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, just like that, okay? And now you're gonna try it on your own. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, just like that. Okay? And then you're going to need, of course, your Play-Doh. Because we're going to make our worms. Oh, that's so funny. So we're going to make worms, and guess what? Worms, the word worms, has the whoop, whoop, whoop sound, which is W, the sound that W makes. So we're making worms for the letter W. So that's perfect, isn't it? All right. So I'm going to make Play-Doh together and going to roll it out and make a worm. So you can't see that I'm doing it, but I am making a worm. So I'm going to make a really long worm because I've got lots of straight diagonal lines that I need to put down for my W. So here's one. And it's pretty easy to do. There's no curved lines, lots of straight lines. I think I'm going to need some more Play-Doh. Yep, I am. So I'm going to grab a little bit more and make another worm, which you should be worm making experts by now, right? You should be really, really, really good at making worms. Okay. So let's just roll these out just like this. And put them together like that. There we go. So then I'm going to trace it with my fingers. So get your pointer finger and go down, up, just like that. Okay. So I'm going to save these worms because I'm going to need them for the lowercase W that we're going to do next. So if you're still working, go ahead and push pause. And then when you're done, you can push play and come join Mrs. R again. Okay. So I'm going to erase my W's. I'm going to flip the page to the lowercase w, which looks a lot like the capital W. Okay, so the lowercase w starts in the middle, goes down to the bottom, up to the middle, down to the bottom, up to the middle. So we're just not going past that middle line. Let me pull this down so you can see a little bit. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Now, I see a capital W here, but I think that's supposed to be a lowercase w. So we're going to ignore that, and we're going to make lowercase. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. We're going to ignore that because that should have been a lowercase w. So that's Mrs. R's mistake. I didn't catch that. Okay, so we're going to do lowercase w now. So I'm going to go ahead and I saved my worm from last time, my worms. And so I'm just going to pinch them and make them a little bit shorter. So I don't have to re-roll them out because I kept all of them from when I took apart my capital W. So that makes it faster if you save the pieces and don't smash them up. So I didn't even have to roll these out again. I just made them shorter. And then trace it with my finger down, up, just like that. So if you're still working, press pause and come back when you're ready. All right, I'm going to go ahead and erase this. Oops. Oh no, I got some on the notebook. I'll have to clean that off. Okay, so now we have, let's skip this part. We have new high frequency words. So I'm curious how you guys are doing. So your words you know pack should be getting pretty full by now because you have a lot of new words that you know. And there's probably some in the pack that I don't know yet. And that's okay because we're all still learning. So our new sight word for this week is the word in. I-N. Like I go into the store. Okay? So I-N spells in. So let's go ahead and say it. In, and let's spell it. I-N spells in. Like I go into the store. Or I'm going in my room. So we're going to write it now. These are all lowercase letters, so that means they start at the middle line. So we go down from the middle to the bottom at I, and we just did I last week, so you should know how to do this. And lowercase n starts at the middle, goes to the bottom like a number one, and comes back up and around like that. So lowercase I with the dot. Now don't make your dots huge on I's. We don't want them like this. That is not how we make the dot on top. That is way too big, okay? You don't want to make them that big. It's just kind of like we do a period at the end of our sentence. Down, up and around and down. And just like that. All right, so we wrote it 3 times. And erase it. Let's get that. And let's go to the next part. So this time we're going to say it in, and let's go ahead and spell it. I-N spells in. And then this is where you would build it with magnetic letters. So you need to get I-N out of your magnetic letters and build the word. Okay. Go ahead and push pause to do that now. And then we're going to say it in and spell it. I-N spells in and build it with Play-Doh. Oh, I should have saved my Play-Doh worms. They're going to make new ones. I wasn't thinking that time. Okay. So if you saved your Play-Doh worms from the W, this would be really, really easy right now, but I didn't save them. So that's okay. I'm going to make some new ones, and that's all right, because worms are easy to make. We're professional worm makers now, aren't we? All right, because we've done it so much, which is good, because the more you practice something, the better you get at it, right? Just like if you practice your handwriting and your name, and you do your very best, and after a while, you're just doing it so good. So there's that I, and you can make a dot. So I'm gonna make a ball and roll it. And put that there and kind of press it down a little bit. And then here's the number 1 from my lowercase n. And then I need to make the fourth part, which is just a bent worm. Just like that. So I'm going to trace it with my finger down, the dot, and then down, up and around for the lowercase n, just like that. Okay? All right. So, whoops, let's go ahead and put this away. But before we move on to our writing, I dropped my card. Before we go into our writing, I want to review some of our sight words from the past. Okay, so I'm going to put these down, and I'm going to say them, and you say them after me, and you use a great big inside voice. Okay, here we go. You make sure to say them after Mrs. R. He, can, no, is, say them after me. My, a, so you'd be like an echo. After Mrs. R says it, you say it like an echo. 2, we, see, like, the, you, and, me, so, on, at, and our new word for today, in. Look at all these words, boys and girls, that you've been learning. So many words. My goodness, that is a lot. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this to the side. So the next thing you're going to need to grab is your backpack there, listening and writing book number 1. Now, some of you are on book number 2, so this is where you would pause the video and go ahead and do your workbook pages. But for the rest of us, we're going to be in book 1. And we're going to find the page that for the W, which is page 40. A 4 and a 0 is page 40. And if you can't find it, then you need to ask an adult to help you. So I'm going to put the lid on my Play-Doh. Get my work area kind of organized here. Okay, and then I need to grab something to write with. Okay, so let's take a look here. Let me focus in a little bit more. All right, so here's our W page, nice and big so you can see it. Okay, so we're gonna read our sentences like we always do. So this is a wolf, this is a window, this is a wig, which is like fake hair that some people wear. Sometimes you have them for costumes, and sometimes people wear them, you know, so maybe their hair is not, they don't have much hair, so they'll wear a wig so it looks like they have no hair. And then this is a web. Okay, so let's go ahead and read this sentence. I want everyone to point to the first letter, which is W. Everyone point, please, and you're going to read with Mrs. R. Here we go. Get your eyes and ears and mouth ready. Here we go. W is for wolf. I'm going to put this picture in. Get ready, point and read. W is for window. W is for wig. W is for web. Okay, let's read them again. We're going to read them quick this time. W is for wolf. W is for window. W is for wig. W is for web. There we go. All right, so let me go ahead and color in my pictures. Oh, what colors do I choose today for W? There's so many choices. It's so hard to pick, boys and girls. Let's see. Maybe this color. So I'm going to color in my W. And make sure that you do your best and you color inside the lines, please. Remember, Mrs. R always says we need to try our best. Mrs. R doesn't expect you to do things perfectly because nobody can do things perfectly. But you can do things the best you can, right? Because you want to be proud of all the effort you've put into your work. And that means that you take your time to do your best. Saying we have in class that sometimes is a good reminder for us is do it nice or do it twice, right? If we do it really messy, then Mrs. R might say, oh dear, we need to fix that. And then you end up doing twice the amount of work, and that's no fun. So do it nice or do it twice. We want to do it twice. We want to do it our best the first time. Okay, there's my W. Now I have to decide what color I'm going to color my wolf. Boy, wolves come in lots of different colors. White and gray and brown and black. Probably even different shades of golden too. I've never seen a wolf in the wild, but I have. One time we went on a trip to Canada and Mrs. R went to a wolf sanctuary, and I never realized how big wolves really are. I always thought they were kind of like the size of a dog, you know, but actually when I saw them up close, they were quite large. They were much taller than a dog. And they had longer legs. They were much bigger. Beautiful creatures though, and I heard them howling, and they were just really neat. Really, really neat. But I have to say, I've never seen them in the wild before. So, and I don't know if we have a lot in the state of Washington, but I know in Canada and other places in the US, they have a lot of wolves. Okay, so there's my painting, and then I'm going to color my wig. I guess I'll just color this brown, color light brown. It's kind of actually an orangish brown, so sometimes people with kind of orangish head, they call them redhead. But I don't think their hair is really red. It's kind of an orange color, but I think it looks so cool. People that have red or orange, red, they call it redhead. I think that it's just the coolest looking hair. And then I'm going to, I'm just going to trace my web in blue. I know webs aren't blue, but I really want it to stand out. So I'm not going to actually color it, but I'm just going to trace these lines. Spider webs are so cool, you guys. If you ever look at them in the morning when they're all dewy, dew is like that moisture that's in the air. It looks like it makes it look like there's little raindrops that get caught on the web. It's just so pretty. Spiders weave their webs from the silk that's in their abdomen, which is in near their belly. And they are very, very strong. They can stand up to really windy days of rain and snow, and they don't get broken. It's pretty amazing. And they're pretty strong. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on our W's now. Just like we did in our workbook page, we start at the top line, go down to the bottom, up to the top, down to the bottom, up. So down, up, okay? Down, up, 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 down, up. You can do it. Don't give up. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay, I know sometimes it's hard and your hands get tired, but I want you to try your best. Do the best you can. Now, Mrs. R is going too fast. You know what you need to do. Just push pause and then come back when you're ready. Okay, now for lowercase w, it's the same as the capital W, except everything doesn't, nothing goes past the middle dotted line. Okay? So start the middle line, go down, up, and up to that middle line, not past it. So remember, most of our lowercase letters do not go past the middle line. There are exceptions, there are a few, but not many. Okay? All right, so now let's go ahead to the next page. It says W, listen for the beginning sound. So we're going to write our W here, down, up, down, up. Now, this is what we need to decide. We need to decide which of these pictures have the W sound at the beginning of the word. Now, if the picture has the W sound at the beginning, we're going to draw a line from this picture to the picture that has the W sound. Now, if it does not have the W sound, then we're going to put an X on it. Okay, so let's try. Let's try a few. Worm. Does worm have the W sound at the beginning? Yes, so we would draw a line to it. Here's the next one. Bed. Does bed have the W sound at the beginning? Does bed have the W sound at the beginning? No. Bed has the B sound at the beginning. That is not W sound. That is a B sound. Okay, let's look at our next picture. Wagon. Wagon. Does wagon have the W sound at the beginning? I hear the W in wagon. Fan. Does fan have the W sound at the beginning? No. It has the F sound, as in fan. Wing. Wing. Does wing have the W sound? I hear the W sound in w-ing, wing. Here is wig. Wig. Does wig have the W sound at the beginning? Yes, it does. W-ig, wig. Very good. Okay, so our last thing. Mrs. R is going to say some words. Now, if the word has W sound, then you're going to do a thumbs up. If it doesn't have the W sound, then do a thumbs down. All right, so let me stop sharing for a minute. So here we go. I'm going to say a word and listen really carefully. And if you hear the W sound, do thumbs up. If you do not hear the W sound, thumbs down. Okay, let's try one. Water. Water. Does water have the W sound in it? Yeah, great. Okay, let's try another one. Rain. Rain. Does rain have W in it? No. Let's try another one. Waves. Waves. Does waves have W in it? Yeah. How about windy? Windy. Does the word windy have a W sound in it? Yeah. How about snow? Snow. Does snow have the W sound in it? No. That has a S sound at the beginning. Last one. Wednesday. Wednesday. Does Wednesday have the W sound in it? Yep. Good job, you guys. Okay. So I want to share my screen with you. And what you're going to need to do, let me share my screen so you can see really quick. You're going to need to get your November journal out. So if you don't have your November journal, I want you to pause the video and then go get it because you're going to need it. Okay? All right. So we're going to turn to the page that says Pilgrim Children. Pilgrim Children. Okay? Pilgrim Children, just like that. And on the bottom, it says feeds chickens, collects eggs, gather wood, churn butter, and sew. So churn butter, that means to take cream like the milk from a cow and they agitate it, which means they shake it or they mix it really fast using a butter churn and it turns it into butter. Now, normally if we were in our classroom, normally we make butter in class, but you can do this yourself at home by getting a jar and putting in some heavy cream, and you can add a marble to the jar or you can do it without, and you shake it for a long time. You put the lid on and you shake it. So you put a jar with some cream and then you put the lid back on and you shake it really hard for a long time. You have to shake, 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 shake. And eventually it'll turn into butter. And then you add just a tiny bit of salt to it, mix it up, and you could actually put it on your bread and you can make your own butter at home. Isn't that cool? So people had to make their own butter before because they didn't have stores, or the stores that they did have were too far away. Very different than the stores we have today too. So they had to do a lot of things like make their own clothes, make their own food, even things like flour for baking. They had to get wheat and they had to grind it down into flour that you could use for cooking. They had to gather their own firewood and raise their own animals for food. So it was a very different time. So in our writing today, it talks about pilgrim children. So you can pick something you want to write about: feeds chickens, plucks eggs, gathers wood, churns butter, or sews. I think I'm going to do feeds chickens. Because a lot of the children during the pilgrim time, they had a lot of responsibilities. It wasn't like today. So before the sun was even up, children would have to get up and help their parents with the chores. Things like milking the cow, feeding the chickens and the goats, tending all the animals, bringing water, bringing firewood, because they didn't have electric stoves like we do today. You had to start a fire inside of your stove so that you could cook. You also had to go and collect water from a stream or a river that was nearby. Sometimes you had a well, but not very often. So you had to go do all those things before you even had breakfast in the morning. And then you would eat, and then some children went to school. A lot of children were homeschooled, just like you guys are. They were homeschooled by their mom, who would teach them at home the things they needed to learn. So just a very different time. And we're learning about that this month for social studies, about then and now, talking about different things about school and how things were so different compared to now. So that'll be interesting for you to read about that, because that'll help you understand how different it was between how things are today and how it was when pilgrims were here. Okay, so I'm going to write about chickens. And so I think what I'm going to do is first we're going to do our picture. Pilgrim children definitely had to feed chickens. If they had them, that would be a job that probably the girls would do. So I'm going to draw a picture of a chicken. And let's see. This chicken with a little beak. And let's see. Chickens have feathers, right? Like that. Sometimes these little feet like this too. A little one over there. So here's the ground. And then they make her little nest. Chickens have little nests, don't they? That's where they lay their eggs. And then I'm going to put the chicken eggs inside of the nest like this. So sometimes there's a whole bunch of eggs, huh? All right, so there's my chicken in my nest. So let me go ahead and color that in. The chickens can come in all different colors, can't they? I mean, pretty much they come in lots of different colors. So I think I'm gonna make my chicken orange. Orange is red. So I'm gonna go ahead and color in the chicken. I've never had chickens, but I know some of you guys have chickens at home and chicken coops and all that cool stuff. I would love to have chickens, but where we live, we can't have them. So, but for those of you that have chickens, I think that's super cool. Okay. So I don't know much about how to take care of chickens, but I'm sure some of you know quite a bit. You could probably teach Mrs. R tell me quite a bit about chickens. I had a student a few years ago. She was in 4-H, which is kind of a club for kids that raise animals and like to do a lot of farming and things like that and learn about that. And she would raise chickens for 4-H and do competitions. So she had all kinds of different kinds of chickens, which was kind of cool. And she would always tell me stories about her chickens and how some of them were super tame and she could hold them. And then a long time ago, many years ago, I had a student that had a chicken. Her name was Henrietta. Isn't that funny? She called her Henrietta because, you know, a female chicken is a hen. So anyway, this chicken was so tame that she would put the chicken in the basket on her bike. So she'd ride her bike around and she'd put this chicken in the basket in the front of her bicycle, and the chicken would just hang out there. And she was so used to doing that ever since she was a chick. And so it like didn't scare her or anything. She would ride around her property and ride around in the neighborhood with this chicken in her basket and her bicycle. I thought it was so funny. She'd tell me these crazy stories of things they would do together, which was kind of fun. Okay, so chickens generally live outside for the most part. So I'm going to put a little bit of a blue sky back here. And chicken eggs can come in different colors too. So I'm going to make my chicken eggs. Oh gosh, let's see. I've seen so many cool colors. I've seen like blues, and I've seen kind of greenish color and yellow. It's just so many different cool colors of eggs. Let's see here. I'm sure you guys have some cool colored eggs in your chickens lay some meetings. All right, so let's go ahead. Now, if you're not done, go ahead and pause until you're done with your illustration. So this says Pilgrim Children. So I'm going to go ahead and trace this and start us off here. Pilgrim Children. And I'm going to say, because my choice down here that chose feed chickens. So I'm going to use these two words and I'm going to put them up here. So Pilgrim Children. Now before I write a word, I need to put a finger space, feed, and I'm going to take it directly from down here, the first word feed. So I know I put my finger space, so I know where I'm going to start. F, E, E, D. Pilgrim Children feed chickens. Now I don't have enough room for this great big word, so I'm going to go down to the next line. C, H, I, C, K, E, N, S. Now at the end of my sentence, I need to put a period. So let's go ahead and read what Mrs. R wrote. Pilgrim Children feed chickens. Now yours might look different than mine. You might say Pilgrim Children collect eggs, Pilgrim Children gather wood, Pilgrim Children churn butter, Pilgrim Children sew. So your picture and your sentences might look different than mine, and that's okay. It just depends on which one you wanted to add to your writing today, okay? So if you're still working, go ahead and press pause because we're going to do the checklist next. All right, so let's go ahead and check our writing. It says up here at the top, let me make this a little bigger so you can see it better. It says, I can use a capital letter. So you see at the beginning of this sentence, they put a capital letter. Well, at the beginning of our sentence right here, we did use a capital letter. So let's go ahead and mark that off. Use finger spaces, and we did. Remember how we put finger spaces between our words? And you can see here, there's a finger space here as well that was put in for these words that were added for us already. Sound out words. We really didn't have to sound out many words today, so I'm going to leave that blank because we didn't have to sound out anything. Use punctuation. We definitely do. We always have punctuation in our sentence, whether it's a period like we used today, or a question mark, or an exclamation mark. And these two marks we're not going to use yet, but eventually we will in our writing. And then draw a picture, of course, we always do that. Okay, so there we go. And let's read this. Pilgrim Children feed chickens. So we remember capitalization at the beginning. That first letter is always capitalized. finger spaces, and definitely punctuation. And most of the time we sound out words too, but we didn't have to do that today. And then I have my picture. The picture that you draw should tell about the writing. So if you drew a picture up here of a playground, that doesn't make sense because that does not have anything to do with the sentence, does it? So my picture is telling me, okay, whatever this, even if you couldn't read this, you would know that I'm probably writing about a chicken, okay? So your picture should reflect or tell about what your writing is, all right? All right, so let's go ahead and close our books. And if you're still writing, that's okay. Just finish up, push pause and finish up. All right, so let me go ahead and clear this out. All right, so I hope you enjoyed today writing about Pilgrim Children and learning about the letter W and our sight word for the week. So you'll get another opportunity to work on some more things today in math or social studies. This would be a good time to jump into that social studies and learn about then and now and how things were different in the past compared to how it is today. Learning about school and learning about homes and all kinds of things. So I hope you learned something new today and you have fun. And I hope you do your very best for your moms and dads at home as they're your teachers. And just keep doing your very best. And I look forward to seeing you very soon. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.